Hi guys, Artem here with another vlog. This time I wanted to share my experience and tell you what it's like starting a business in Finland. Finland is obviously, well, it has received a lot of good press. People live in Finland, Finland, happiest country, and so forth. I wanted to share a little bit what it's like starting a business in Finland, and I wanted to share 10 positive things that I encountered when I started a business in Finland. Let's get started. Number one. So, first is the taxman, a friendly taxman. Obviously, in Finland, you have to pay a lot in taxes because there is so many subsidies that businesses get. There is a lot of social support for unemployed people, disabled people, free education, and so on and so on and so on. So government has a lot of expenses, and how do they cover those expenses? Obviously, by asking you to pay tax. So what is positive about paying taxes in Finland? Well, the taxman is actually really friendly. So I never thought about it, but in many cases, when you have a question regarding taxation in Finland, you can just give a tax office a call, and they're very very qualified, quick to answer, and they can answer you by email, telephone, and in many cases, if you have a question, for example, would I be taxed for this and that, and how much? If you want to actually be really really sure, you can apply and pay quite a hefty fee, but you can apply to get a resolution made ahead of time. So if you, for example, if you're making a big purchase and you're wondering what would be the tax implications, or you are selling your company and you want to know what would be tax implications for you specifically in your case, you can actually apply to get a decision made ahead of time, so you can decide if you want to proceed or not. If you proceed, then obviously you already know how it will go. Or if you see that the decision would be negative, you could, for example, hold off selling your company for another year or whatever. So friendly taxman, that's definitely a plus when you're starting a business in Finland, especially in the beginning when you're wondering, how much tax do I have to pay? Do I have to pay tax from my salary, but what about corporate income, so forth and so forth. Very very friendly taxman. uh, Second one is funding. In Finland you can get a lot of funding actually. um, Incredible amounts of funding if you are creating something really and truly innovative, or even if you're starting a small business like I don't know, like an e-commerce website, or if you are I don't know, publishing a book, whatever. You can apply to get some basic funding that would help you cover your basic living costs. Maybe it's called start funding or whatever, and it's about maybe like 700 or something a month for an entrepreneur, and you can spend that money on your own personal expenses, and you can get it for about 6 months, from 6 to maybe I think 18 months, depending on your business and how viable it is and so forth. But money gradually gets reduced each time you apply for a 6 month chunk. So funding is available even if you have traditional business, so-called, I would call it boring business, but in a best possible way boring. I mean, something that has a demand already. You're not generating nuclear reactors. You're not doing software development. You maybe have traditional business such as a restaurant or something similar. Basically, you can apply to get some funding to help you cover your basic personal expense. But if you're developing something really cool, if you're working with R&D, new technology, innovative technology, something that would have international potential, and something that could actually turn into a very scalable business model, then there are many different funding options available in Finland, and you could get up to several millions in euros of funding. Obviously, that means that you will have to, funding will never cover 100% of your, for example, R&D expenses, but they will cover, in some cases, close to maybe 70%. Again, you would have to still pay yourself, and then you would get reimbursed for approved expenses and so forth. So it's not like free money for everybody, but still, if you're creating something really cool, you can get some decent funding in Finland. And especially when you're starting, even a few €100 makes a difference. Third is our social system. So when, for example, you're starting a business in other countries, if you have children, if you have a wife, for example, who is not working, or maybe she is starting a business and you're taking care of kids and you're not working, if something goes wrong with your business, horribly wrong, I mean, you get indebted, you have to declare bankruptcy, and basically that's it, you're spent, you failed miserably. In Finland, social support system will still make sure that your kids get access to the probably one of the best education in the world for free, so your kids don't suffer. Your family will still be covered in terms of basic necessities. So, if you go bankrupt and you're indebted, you don't have any money. Your family can still get, housing benefits. They can get some basic unemployment benefits and so forth. So basically, you always know, no matter what happens in your business, your family will never be hungry, and your kids will always have a great start in life by having access to really, really good education facilities. And last, medical expenses. Even if you're broke, your company declared bankruptcy, you have a lot of debt and so forth, you have always access to free healthcare. In many cases in America, many people declare personal bankruptcy because of medical expenses. And when you have a business and you're taking risks already, financial risks and risks otherwise, obviously if something horrible happens in your life, and you don't have insurance, in many countries that could result in horrible things, obviously. I don't even want to think about what would happen with me if my family member needed something done and I couldn't afford it, in terms of surgery or something else. So basically there is this safety net, right, in Finland, and that allows you to take quite a lot of risk. Finns don't really think about it because they're born into it, right? So they're actually risk averse, even though they should be taking more risk because there is this safety net. But us, foreigners, we actually understand that this safety net is huge because it allows us to take incredible risks and allows us to, sleep well at night, because we always know that our family will never go hungry, our kids will always have access to a great education, and we will never have to worry about medical expenses, crushing us financially. So that's really, really great. Fourth is, advices. You can get a lot of good advice from many, many government institutions in Finland. So there is a really, really good support network of government individuals and semi-government or non-government agencies that provide advices and free consulting to starting entrepreneurs. So basically, if you have a business plan and you want somebody qualified to look over it, provide you some feedback and so forth, there are many, many, many different agencies in Finland that could help you do that. And also government can even sponsor, for example, market analysis that you need done before you start a business and so forth. Obviously, it depends on the case, but in many cases, it's very, very, very easy to get good advice. It's very easy to get feedback, and it's very easy to have somebody really qualified help you out in the beginning to tell you where you're lacking in terms of maybe when you do budgeting for your first year, maybe you think that you will get all the business for free using social media. Well, somebody could analyze your business plan, your budgeting, and say like, hey, this doesn't really work like that. Even if you have social media, you still need to spend money in terms of marketing. Basically, number four is getting feedback and getting qualified advice is really easy and cheap, in most cases free in Finland, and that's really awesome. Number five is most of the things are done digitally. So if you send your tax applications, if you deal with funding agencies, if you sign documents, NDAs, I don't know what other things you do, maybe sign contracts, submit accounting documents to your accountant. All of that can be done online, and that's really really awesome, especially for you nomad type of guys who want to travel, see the world, yada yada yada. For you, that's really really amazing because you can easily just do everything online in most cases. So I think that's really really good. Compared to Estonia, it's not as good. Estonia is maybe way advanced in terms of doing everything digitally, but still Finland is really phenomenal when it comes to managing your business online. Number six is transparency. So Finland really prides itself in transparency, and when it comes to businesses, it's very easy to actually buy a financial statement of your competitors, and you can see what was their turnover, how much money did they spend on, for example, workforce, what was their revenue, and so forth. So you can actually, before you start your own business, for maybe like 100 euros, you can buy a lot of financial information on your competitors or on companies that you consider your benchmarks. And that is taken even further. In Finland, you can just go to the tax office and get anybody's tax returns, right? President, maybe that could be a really good, vlog subject, right? Me going to tax office and asking for president's tax returns. That'd be pretty fun. But anyway, cool idea, Give a like if you think I should go and get president's tax returns and, go through it with you guys in my vlog. So transparency is really, really good. And transparency forces everybody to be more honest because it's very easy to see if somebody is doing something shady and so forth. So transparency is good. Obviously, some people don't like it, and some people could actually apply to be hidden from the registry and so forth. Individuals who could get blackmailed and so forth, maybe politicians, but that's really rarely done. Anyway, number seven, that's everybody play by the rules. That's really really awesome. Some of you know that sometimes it feels like somebody is playing by the rules, and some have some shortcuts. In Finland, it doesn't really work that way. So there are very few businesses and very few industries that use unlawful practices in business, or otherwise, let's call it, take shortcuts. In Finland, everybody plays by the book, and mentality of the Finnish population is that obeying the rules is good and taking shortcuts or cheating is bad, and they demand it of other people, be it in business or be it in personal life, but they also are willing to play by the book themselves when it's not beneficial to them. So that mentality is really really awesome because for example, your competitor can't undercut you because they don't pay taxes to their employees or something like that. Everybody plays by the same rules, and that's really really awesome. And number eight is buying power. So Finland is a rather wealthy country. So if you are selling your services or products in Finland, people have the money to spend. So be it businesses or be it, just consumers. If your product or service is awesome, people are willing to pay a lot for it, especially, you know, if it's trendy. For example, it's sustainable, eco-friendly, and so forth. Basically, people having money to spend is really great, because then obviously there is room to grow your business. Number 9 is work-life balance. Finns really pride themselves in not working too much. And you might think that, wow, that's actually really bad. Well, partially, yes. Your employees will most likely in Finland, leave their workplace at 4 o'clock. They will come in at 8, but they will leave at 4. And most likely they will not want to overwork, do overtime, even if you're willing to pay for it in many cases. Finns actually value their time much more than their money. So, that's really, really good for you, because you will unlikely receive phone calls late at night. People respect your free time, so they will not, call you during weekends. They will not expect you to work during holidays and so forth. So people really respect your own private life and your boundaries, and that's really, really awesome. When you're hiring people, obviously that might feel sometimes unfair, because your business might really need somebody to work overtime, and that person is not willing um, to do that work. Could feel a little bit unfair, right? But that's how it is in Finland. People value their time a lot more than money in most cases. And number 10, obvious but good one, cheap, unlimited internet. So in Finland, if you buy 4G, SIM card, or if you have internet at home, in most cases, for 20 to 30 euros a month, you will get a really, really fast. In my case, at home, I have a gigabit connection, unlimited connection, and I pay for it like 23 euros or something like that. So that's, I think, really, really awesome. And having unlimited 4G that can push up to 150 megabit per second to maybe 300 megabit per second is really awesome. It allows you to travel inside Finland and do work from whatever place. You don't have to worry about not having Wi-Fi. Being a EU country, obviously we have also free roaming. So when you travel, for example, to Estonia, to I don't know, France, Germany, you can use still your fast internet connection abroad and not pay anything extra for it within certain limits. But still, those limits are, well, you're not going to run out of gigabytes for sure, unless you're doing something really, really bandwidth intensive, like uploading 4K videos to YouTube or something similar. So those are my 10 things that I love about starting a business in Finland. And if you're interested, my next video will be about disadvantages in starting a business in Finland. And hopefully you like the content. Remember to like and subscribe. Artem, over and out. Bye bye.